Hello everyone, warm welcome back to True to Form. The more observant amongst you might realise I've got a guest with me this week, which will be a blessed relief for all of you. I haven't got to listen to me drone on for 15 minutes. I'd like to introduce the man to my left, Harry Derham, trainer, raconteur, former jockey, very poor cricketer and even worse golfer. Harry, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, I think for all of your viewers, another voice, however bad it may be on this show, is probably welcome.
It is, isn't it? It's a real relief. It's a late Christmas present to you all. Harry, thanks very much, as I say, for coming on True to Form. All jokes aside.
Very welcome.
Because there won't be many of them.
No.
Not if I'm steering this ship. You've had a bit of a tortuous 6 weeks, maybe even 2 months, haven't you? Because your gallop got washed away, which is never ideal in the middle of a season, is it?
Not what you want. No, it was a complete nightmare. But it was one of those things that it wasn't something that we had a choice about doing something or not doing anything. It was completely ruined, unfit for purpose. So in that sense, it was quite simple in the way that we had to do something. Fortunately, my owners were very good about it because it was a real nightmare. But all of my owners were very supportive and just said, look, let's get on, sort it out. We have. Massive thanks to Mum and Dad, really, for helping me. And now, thank goodness, we're back on the racetrack. Got a lot of nice horses to run, which I don't feel like they will be doing for the next couple of weeks because of the weather. But
such is life.
Yeah, hopefully we can get back on and talk about horse racing rather than clean stone, membrane and wood chip.
And drainage. Yeah. I mean, we make light of it, but as a 30-year-old running a multi-million-pound business, there have been stressful times, haven't they?
Yeah, exceedingly. I mean, you're right. We make light of it now. I wasn't making light of it for the last 6 weeks. It's been an absolute nightmare. And, the thing is that my business is not yet established. We are establishing. And to have this has just been awful. But we're past it now. And we want to get on and move forward and train lots of winners, and in a year's time, this will be a distant memory. Yeah.
Onwards and upwards, and
exactly.
We've been very lucky to see horses on the gallop this morning. They look to be really reacting very positively to the surface.
Yeah, they are, and they're in good shape. And the one thing that does give me hope about the next 4 months or the 3.5 months that are left of the season is that I've got a lot of fresh, unexposed horses. That lots of horses that haven't run as much as I'd have liked them to up till now. But what that does mean is, as soon as racing is back on, we will be super busy and hopefully keep the foot down now to the end of the season.
Okay, well, let's talk about one or two of those stars that you've got to run in January and beyond. Not least the likes of Brentford Hope, Givemefive, and other horses that have already, Washington, Queen's Gamble, you have managed to accumulate and build, a really nice team of horses here.
We have, and there's a lot of youngsters that haven't even run yet this season that I'm excited to get out. I mean, the top of my bill for some time now probably since I've started actually has been Brentford Hope, and I make no apology for talking about him first. He's the star of my yard so far, and the big target this season the whole way along has been the Kingwell, which still is in the middle of February. We're going to go to Windsor Friday the 17th, so a month before the Kingwell, which is perfect timing. He'll have to carry top weight there, but it's a big prize. And he seems to shoulder top weight pretty well for not an over big horse. I don't think he minds it too much. And often, Paul always said to me, never be afraid of running one with top weight. Like they're the best horse. And if one beats him with less weight and a bit more improvement in them, well, fine, good luck to them. But he'll go there and, with this forecast, you'd like to think Windsor will be quite deep, which he'll love. He's only raced once this season on good ground, which was safe but not suitable for him. So looking forward to him going to Windsor, and Givemefive might actually join him.
Right.
It's I've been having a lot of conversations with Paul O'Brien about Givemefive, and we're just sort of at that stage of, are we good enough and have any business to be running in a Betfair hurdle or a county hurdle? Or are we a horse that needs to go and qualify for a Challenger series that Brentford won in March? And he won at Cheltenham at the start of the season. It was fantastic. and he was second in an Adonis. But your mid-130s horse, as a 5-year-old, it's not the easiest spot to be in. No. So
we're a twilight horse.
Yeah, and so we just think maybe let's go to Windsor. If we finish 7th and we're not good enough, well, the Challenger Series is where we'll go. Yeah. And if we go and run really well, then we might have business to go and run in the county.
Obviously, he's got some illustrious owners that they let you do your own thing, do they?
Yeah, Graeme is the most involved.
Graeme McDowell,
yeah, absolutely loves it. Really interested in the why and how, which I'm not sure I know myself, but we have good chats about it, and I think I need to speak to him this week. But we're certainly, my team are of the opinion that Windsor will tell us what we're up to next. I mean, a race that could be really suitable for him in the spring is the conditional jockeys race at Aintree.
I know Brooks Koepka had targeted that one, hadn't he?
He's a big fan of conditional jockey riders, and those young races. No, I'm not sure Brooks is. Brooks knows when he's running and always shares on Instagram and stuff, but I don't think he'd know the intricacies of the program book. No.
Well, there's plenty of time for that. So that's Givemefive and Brentford Hope. You've obviously got other very talented hurdlers in the yard as well. One that we saw win at Fairyhouse recently, an absolute bolt up, was Washington, who stepped up quite markedly on that Chepstow reappearance. Yeah,
he did. And obviously, I wouldn't have sent him over there if I wasn't expecting a pretty good run. No. But I felt he was a rock solid each way runner, and if he was in the 4, he'd have paid for his trip. So we felt that there was a appropriate time to do it.
Good gamble to take, really.
Yeah, and the key with the handicap at that time of year was no novices. So often in the race at Newbury or the county, you're bumping into a state man or was the horse of JP's won the Betfair Iberico Law? No. Yeah, Iberico Law. And those types of horses. And in handicaps like those novices that are not fully exposed are so tough to beat. I mean, Brentford got beat by Daddy Longlegs, who was a stone well in at Punchestown. Yeah. But in early December, none of those novices were qualified. So all of a sudden, you're racing against a field of more exposed horses.
I think that's a really good point, and not one perhaps that, well, certainly not me as a pundit, and
not as sharp as me.
No, well, clearly not. No, and nobody's unsurprised by that. But that's a very good point that I don't think gets picked up particularly in the narrative of a season. Essentially, that those novices can't run in those handicaps
till the spring.
Till they get their 4 or 5 runs, whatever.
Yeah, and I think Cheltenham making it 4 or 5 runs now will help, definitely, because you're looking at Gallop and Deschamps winning a boys race, Stateman winning county,
Pipe,
and that makes life very difficult for those horses that are handicappers.
Yes.
But Washington had his big day, won a lot of prize money in the process, which was brilliant. He could go to Newbury on the 8th
for the Betfair Hurdle,
or he could go to the DRF the week before. Right. Now, Innes Kerry, who finished second to Washington, won Leopardstown over Christmas and was pretty good in doing it, actually. I initially didn't think the race was worth that much. Innes Kerry going winning has probably made sense of it a bit more.
Do you think Washington got a very good ride and tactically was...
Without question, in the right spot. And because the tempo of races in Ireland are slow go, I think Washington was pretty... unpestered, so he didn't pull as hard as he might, and it was a perfect storm for him to put in a career best. Now, brilliant that he did. It will be a lot harder for him wherever he goes next time, £10 higher. But he's in good nick, and he's on a bit of a roll. And until he gets beat, we'll keep rolling.
Another one for the DRF, Queen's Gamble.
Yeah, she ran very well in the Jerryford, and I felt.
Race that's working out well.
Yeah, there's a 4 winners, I think, come out of it maybe. Yeah. But I thought that was a very good run. I think just that race will have really... I don't want to say be the making of her, because I think that's a ridiculous thing to say. Like, she's a very talented horse, but I think it will really help her. Like, her 3 novice hurdles before that, one for Oliver, which she was long odds on, one as she liked. Her first one for me at Kempton, she crept round in 3rd, very straightforward race, race from landing over 2 out, won a race. Taunton, all right, she beat Castanet Memento, but there was 6 runners. She didn't learn much. And I think to run in a 14-runner Jerry Fielding when they jumped off, good gallop.
It make her a little bit more battle hard.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm probably trying to get at. And I think that experience of jumping at that speed and being tight and racing hard, I think will really help her. And, we're going to go to the DRF.
And she'll need to be a little bit more switched on.
Big time.
For a race like that, won't she?
Yeah, because, it probably won't be as classy a race, but it will be more tight and competitive in Ireland. And I think 2.25 miles is no problem.
No.
I'm hoping Leopardstown. Leopardstown is notoriously the one that doesn't get too wet in Ireland, isn't it?
Yeah, they were going to water, weren't they, 2 or 3 years ago
that
for
would
the
be
DRF.
That would be nice if it was just not too deep for her. But it's a 0 to 140 mares handicap hurdle over 2.25 miles. It's perfect.
Is it the first one on a Sunday? Is it?
Oh, it's definitely on the Sunday.
Yeah. They usually run the mares race first. I think that
would be lovely, wouldn't it, on fresh ground? But I mean, it's a perfect race for her, in my opinion, and then that will tell us. Do we have business in running in the mares hurdle, or do we go in a county or a Coral Cup?
Yeah.
But I think a step up to 2.25 is not a negative for her.
No.
I think she'll stay well.
Let's whistle through 2 or 3 more then before time beats us. Slugger won 3 for you this year, and he's quite a remarkable horse, isn't he? Because he just plods along, but seems to be going almost a yard quicker than anything else in the race. Obviously, because he's winning the races. That's not rocket science.
But he's doing
But
I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. Yeah, and I don't really know why. Like, maybe we've just got him at a good time. Like, he's quite a young horse. He was very headstrong.
But you wouldn't guess that, having seen him run at sort of Carlisle and even the other day at Musselburgh.
No, you wouldn't. And in fairness to him, I wouldn't have guessed it when he came to me. So whether he's just had a summer and just thought about it and grown up a bit and matured, I don't know. But
puff the chest out.
We've just pretty much trained him normally. Because I knew he was keen from his races, I've never worked him with another horse. I just worked him on his own. But he's just thrived, and you get a horse who's a 5-coming 6-year-old who's maybe just understanding what's required of him. We took the hood off, changed tactics, which I sometimes think with keen horses, when you're last, I always think you're making their task a little bit harder sometimes, and if you can front run.
Ruby Walsh said that to me once. I said, wouldn't you drop him out? And no, go to the front, set your own pace, set your own rhythm, get him to drop his head, relax him.
And I think sometimes they when they're behind other horses, they're just racing to be in front of them. The moment you put them in front, well, all of a sudden that mission is not there. So he's done great. He will go now straight to the Morebattle, which will be a big step up in class, obviously, but we sort of feel like he's progressive. You'd hope on the 1st of March, Kelso will get nice ground. I think he'd travel in a race like that. Is he good enough? Who knows? But it's a nice, he's had 3, not quick races, but like bang, month. We're just going to give him a couple of quieter weeks now and try and get him in very good shape for the Morebattle. It's a massive prize. Dave Armstrong, who sort of has got Lee and Danny Willett involved in the horse, Lee Westwood and Danny Willett, is a huge advocate for Northern Racing and a massive supporter of it. So to have a live runner in a Morebattle is golden for those guys. And who knows? Like, he could keep improving. He's at that age where, like, even at Musselburgh the other day, he looked beat, and then all of a sudden he's winning the shade snugly.
Yes.
So, whilst he keeps doing that, I'm going to keep believing.
Yeah, absolutely. One horse we might not get to see this week is Viyanni, who made such an impressionable start to life with you at Market Raise and clocked some good data for a 5-runner race around Market Raise.
Yeah.
He's in the Chatteris Fen at Huntingdon on Friday. It's unlikely to be on, perhaps, but is there another plan for him if it isn't?
Yeah, I mean, that was sort of a big objective for him. I don't think as you rightly said, I don't think Huntingdon will be on. I don't think I want to run him on really desperate ground. very, very good jumper and has a high cruising speed, as he showed at Market Racing. Now, you're right, it wasn't much of a race, but he did it well. I think he just doesn't want really desperate ground. So I'm keen to get him out again. I mean, I've entered him at Kempton on Saturday. Probably going to be too soft. He could go to Ascot the week after.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's quite a nice horse. And I think he's actually got a little bit of class. I anticipate him ending up being a staying horse.
That Johnny Murtagh pre-training yard for you is very good, isn't it?
Well, the horses we've had from Johnny have been great, and I think because Johnny gelded so many of his early on, they're good sound horses. They're
hardy, aren't they?
Yeah, and they're trainable. They're very well behaved. Like every single one I've had free from Johnny, they're brilliant rides. They're all snaffle mouths, and like I know that might sound irrelevant, but for jumpers it's not. So many jump horses that you get off the flat, you think, right, well, I'm going to have to spend 3 months settling him. Johnny's a well-behaved, well-mannered animals, good rides.
Yeah.
So they're at such an advantage already. And because he gelds them quite early on in their life, you don't have to get them and geld them and give them loads of time.
No.
I just think, for whatever reason, what he does in his system seems to match up quite well to what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, they're well-behaved, well-drilled. They're professional, aren't they?
Exactly. And it's like loads of horses that Paul had from Givemefive worked well. And for whatever reason, whatever Guillaume did and whatever Paul did matches up.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, what Johnny teaches his horses seems to work well as they come into my system.
It's lovely when you've got that synergy, really.
It is nice, yeah. Hopefully I'll keep having a few nice ones off him in the years to come.
Yeah, and you bought a couple recently from Joseph. We'll just end with those two. Quick line on each of those. Different type of horse.
Different types, yeah. Turn and Finish as a project Fred Winter. Had a few nice runs, finished second at Cork. I thought it was a really good run. Yeah. We'll have a run before the Fred Winter. And then One Horse Town is a different project altogether. Just turned 3-year-old. He's been third in 2 Dundalk Maidens over 7. He will start at Chelmsford on the 16th. Branching out.
Your proper first... Well, I mean, you've had flat runners before.
Yeah, had a few flat runners, like staying...
Yeah,
horses going for racecourse gallops and Givemefives and things, and but yeah, he is a flat horse, and just trying to make the business a bit more all year round, and I hope he's not my next runner because it's all off and we only got all weather runners.
Well, you joke about things like that, but with your new gallop as well, that's going to be better suited to both types of horse.
For sure, yeah. I mean, the wood chip that we had before the flood, you couldn't have asked a flat horse to go on it. It would have just taken too much speed out of them, I think. But this one is good for jumpers, but easy enough for flat horses too. So watch this space.
Watch this space. Royal Ascot runners for H. Derham next year. Who knows?
Top out that fits. That'd be no good for me at all.
We need to get this rug cut first. Right. Thanks very much, everyone. We've really enjoyed talking to Harry on this week's True to Form. We look forward to being back with you soon. Thanks again. So with the current cold snap, unfortunately, grabbing hold of this week's action, the cards at Warwick and Kempton, for instance, look shrouded in doubt. Let's cast our minds ahead to the Supreme Novices Hurdle, perhaps first race on the first day of the Cheltenham Festival 2025. And the selection here would be Romeo Coolio. Now, not the most original pick I've ever had, admittedly, but the fact that he's had the 3 hurdle runs, I think will be, a real attribute to him going into this race. One or two of his rivals so far, Willie Mullins has the next 3 in the betting, for instance, are all very lightly raced over hurdles and have all looked a little bit iffy with their technique to date. Now, Romeo Coolio flattened the last at Leopardstown over Christmas when winning the Grade 1 and beating his stablemate Bludavassi, but in the main, he's jumped pretty well. And I think the fact that he's got the experience, the requisite experience from those 3 starts will stand him really in good stead going to the Cheltenham Festival for the second time. Of course, he was second in the bumper last year, travelled very strongly through that race, really appreciated a healthy pace, a good ground and the big field. And hopefully he'll get much the same this coming March. He's a horse with a lot of quality and I love the way he travels through his races as well. Great to see him bounce back at Christmas over the hurdles at Leopardstown, and I think now the fact that he's got those 3 runs in early, he can have a nice break, he can miss the DRF and he comes straight into the Cheltenham Festival fit, well and fresh, and I think that's a huge attribute. So I like Romeo Coolio's chances. 10-1 with Bet365, I think that's very fair.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.